Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Monday. It's January 13th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And first of all, I did not trade today. I got summoned for jury duty, and I had to go early this morning for jury duty, and they didn't get out of there till late this afternoon. So um, I did not trade today. Um, Looks like it was a pretty good day. We had a nice little trend up here. Um, Volatility was down compared to what we have been seeing. So kind of a normal trading day, it looks like, with a nice little two-tier channel working up. Um, Looks like there were some good trades here today. Hate I didn't get to trade, but anyway, um, there's not a lot of trades here today, but this was a fairly easy trend to find. Shouldn't have had much difficulty. It's pretty obviously it's consistent off the top, consistent off the bottom, clear midline working up the center. Um, We had a gap on the daily chart. We did not fill it. Prices only traded down to here where we needed to come down to here to fill that gap. Um, People ask me about this all the time. I talk about it, but I guess new people come in. You can see this is where we closed the previous trading day, and this is where we opened today at 8:30 during the normal session. Of course, this is a 24-hour chart, so you see prices. You don't see a gap on this chart, but if you were to open a daily chart, um, yes, the previous day would have closed here, and the new day today would have opened here at 8:30 a.m. And so there's a gap between that yellow line and that brown line on the daily chart, and you can see we did not quite fill it. So there is still a gap on the daily chart. So hopefully that makes sense to you. But it was pretty much all uphill. We were trading down into the open, and just shortly after the open, by 8:40 or so, prices like they reversed and were all uphill after that. So fairly straightforward day. You still wanted to be concerned about this overnight highs when we got to it, and you see it took a little while to work through there, but we did. It was obvious by this time this trend line was in play. So once we came back to the trend line, I wouldn't have a problem trying to enter again. Um, anyway, I'm going to back out a little bit. We'll talk about the trades and we'll wrap it up. 7 o'clock came during this little rally here, and notice this is there's two swings up, and this is a much lower high than over here. You really look at this like a double top, but there is a trend working up here, and there's a break and a new high. You can see that right there. I didn't have it drawn on here, but you didn't really need that, I don't think. There it is. There's your close outside new high, and then we make a lower high. And there are two legs up. Notice you move up, you have a correction, then you move up. If you went to a slightly smaller chart, you'd see a second entry there. I marked it. There's a hidden second entry. You're a little bit away from the EMA. You've got one leg down and a two-legged correction, so you'll probably at a minimum get a measured leg down. And this could be a range day, and we could be going all the way, we could trade all the way back down and test the overnight lows. Plus, there's the gap. And so realize that we may need to trade down to that level as well. So if you look for a measured move, it's right in here. We actually went a little further than that. So that would be my minimum target on the way down. So I like that. And this is a second entry short. Notice that low. Then you get a first entry and a second entry. So it's a second entry short right there. On the bigger picture, actually, I got ahead of myself. I didn't finish this trade. There's a hidden second entry here, and then we move down and pull back. And notice that there's a first entry, and then you come up, and it's a second entry right there. But really, from right here, there's a second entry. Notice that low, first entry, second entry. So there's a couple different ways to look at that one. We did push right through the EMA with no resistance, pulled back and tested it. And so I would look for another leg down. I would measure this leg and then look for a measured leg here. And you see we pretty much got a perfect measured leg down before we bounced, and then we pushed down one more time, and then it reversed. So I really like that trade. This one was a little bit aggressive, but we're a little bit away from the EMA. There is a hidden second entry there based on one leg up, push down, second leg up, and then it turns down. But then we make another new low here. We come back, and it's the same thing. There's another little hidden second entry. It's almost like a little repeat of that right there. And that is the first break of that trend line. There's plenty of room to get out, so I like going short there as well. And even if you don't look at that as a possible second entry, a hidden second entry, notice that new high, that double top. So it's like a new high, first entry, second entry. There's two legs down there and a failure. So that's a failed second entry long. And we're probably going to try to attempt to test that low. And we may try to fill that gap as well. The market is opened at 8:30, so there is the gap there now. And we don't fill it, but you would expect prices to at least attempt to. And then notice that we bounce. We get a first entry, we get a second leg up and a second entry short. It fails, and you may go long there. I don't like this one just simply because there's a little bit of resistance across there. And you're going long right into it, and you see it wouldn't have mattered, it would have worked, but you see how it turns back down a few times there, and you would have, there's always a chance you just get stuck in that, and then it trades lower and stops you out, just like it did right here, even though it ended up going higher. But obviously you would have been out of that one because it did break through, and we did trade up into this, so you would expect if it's to continue on, it's probably going to go higher if it succeeds on the breakout. Doesn't mean that you can't get a couple of failures in both directions first, which is exactly what happened. We failed out the top, failed out the bottom, failed out the top again before we took on off there. So, but you may have entered there. I'm not crazy about it just simply because it is a reversal pattern though. Notice how we pushed up through the EMA, pulled back, took that second leg up, pulled back, and bounced right off the EMA. The only reason I really don't like it is because you got that resistance working across there. And so you're going long right into resistance. And you see how it just keeps chopping along. Even though it would have worked and you wouldn't have got stopped out, it would have been really hairy letting that thing trade back down within a tick or so. And most people probably would have got shaken out of that trade, got scared out of it or whatever, however you want to just call it. Only to watch it end up working. So just not a really good entry. That's the reason I marked it green. Then, of course, we did break out. It turns out to be a failure. There is a failed second entry long here, but I wouldn't take this short. You may take this one simply because you still have room to get out before you come back down here. So that's a possibility. I'll mark that one green. But we really had a reversal pattern just prior to this, so I wouldn't really necessarily be looking for shorts just yet. You did have a failed second entry long right here, and this isn't really a reversal pattern back to the downside. This looks more like one right here, and so same thing, but here you don't have much room back to here. Again, it does look a little like a reversal pattern, so you might argue for it to be green. I tell you, I'd want to skip both of those though, to be honest. And then it fails out the bottom. Generally, you're better off to wait on a higher low. But you do have this little trend line working down a break, a new low. And if you drew this trend line off the top right across these closes here and drag it down, it is bouncing right at that. So again, you might wait on the higher low, which comes here, and then you're just kind of congesting along, and you got a lot of resistance up here. But when it tries to come down yet again and bounces off that trend line and gives you that really bullish bar, I think you should go long now, because now you really got your confirmation right here, and you even got another confirmation of it here, but it's a little bit congested. But it breaks higher, pulls back, and notice how you make those three higher lows, and now you're closing outside that resistance, and that's a nice bullish bar. I like that one. Off it goes, and then it does the same thing. It starts working back to the trend line again. Not a very good setup here. Wait on a higher low and a good signal bar, which comes here. And then you actually get a failed second entry short right here. And I don't know if it broke lower or higher first. I would assume it probably broke lower than turned up. So you could have, if that's the way it did indeed play out, you could have put a buy stop one tick above that after it broke lower. But I'd probably wait on that bar, and if it breaks above that one, then you probably go long. So you could have entered that one a couple of different ways, but it's a failed second entry short, so it doesn't really matter what the signal bar looks like. And that's probably good enough reason, well, if it broke lower first, to go long when it broke out the other side. I wouldn't enter any, even though these are bouncing off this shorter term trend line. You're making higher highs and higher lows. I don't think I would take either of those because there's still a little bit of resistance across here. Turns out it works, but it's right into this midline, and you don't know that you're going to push through it again. Of course, we do. Then it works its way back down. Notice you got a trend line working down through there. You get a break here, a new low, and you may have thought about going long right here, and if you hadn't had these two ended up with 3-bar matching high, I'd probably say yeah, go long there. But with that 3-bar matching high below the EMA and inside this little tiny range, real tight range, I'd skip that one. And then it breaks lower, and again, it's tempting, but it's almost a doji. It's not a very good signal bar. But finally, you push on up, pull back, and you get a higher low right here with a nice signal bar closing back above the range right there and above the original trend line. I like going long there. And you actually get a failed second entry short right here. I did not mark this one because we already have a break and a couple legs up, and we just barely have a new high there. So this thing could reverse at any time, but you may consider that one. It's another one that you may mark it green. And then there's actually another attempt to go lower here with a little failed break lower and a nice bullish bar. It's too late, and this is after 2:30 here. If it wasn't after 2:30, if it was like right in the 2 o'clock hour, I may say, hey, you might take that one too because it is a second entry long. Notice that first entry and pull on back, the second entry long. So anyway, pretty good trading day. Not a lot of entries today, but it was fairly straightforward. And if you just waited on prices to come back to this key entry point and then got to your proper setup, you shouldn't have had much trouble. This one would have been the only one that might have been a little bit questionable. And if you just paid attention to those 3 matching highs and then 2 inside bars, that's probably enough reason to skip that one. So anyway, not much else we can say about today. It's pretty straightforward. It was just straight up really from about 8:40 right into the, we actually closed on the high of the day almost there. So within a tick or two of the high of the day. So pretty straightforward, fairly easy to find channel. Nothing, not very volatile. Decent sized signal bars for the most part today. So pretty good day. I hate I missed it. I'll be back tomorrow, though. I didn't get picked for my jury duty, so I'm released. And I don't know if I wish I could get that lucky getting picked for something else. But it seems like every other year, I get picked for jury duty around here. And but at least this time I didn't have to stay and serve on the actual trial. So they passed me over. So, and I was happy. But anyway. I had to go do my civic duty today, and hopefully I'm good for another year or two. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow, and I will be back tomorrow. So we should be back on a regular schedule tomorrow. If you were looking for I did note that, did mention this Friday in the, or Thursday in the mid-morning chart, that if you didn't see one today, you'd know why. So most of you should have known why there was no mid-morning chart posted on the website, but I figured I'd have time to come do this regardless, so I didn't mention it on the YouTube video today, or Friday, or Thursday, or whatever. So, and I did. I had plenty of time to come in, and they let us go around 2 o'clock here, so it's just about 4:30 now that I'm wrapping this up. So it worked out perfect, but anyway, I'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'll be back on my regular schedule. I'll be trading tomorrow. Hope you had a good trading day. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.